If your Social Security payment did not show up in your bank account when you expected it, you are not alone, and there is something happening behind the scenes that most retirees do not fully understand. Many seniors assume that once Social Security sends the payment, the money simply appears in their account and the process is complete. But there is actually another step involved that can affect exactly when your funds become available. And recent banking policy adjustments have started changing how those deposits are reviewed and processed. Before we go any further, if you depend on Social Security for your monthly income and want to stay informed about every change that could affect your benefits, hit that subscribe button right now. We break down the latest Social Security news every week in plain, simple terms, so you always know what is happening with your money. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update that matters to your financial security. Now let me explain exactly what is going on and why some retirees are seeing their payments arrive later than expected. I want to start with something personal because I think it helps explain why this matters so much. A few months ago, my own father experienced something that a lot of retirees quietly go through but rarely talk about. My dad has been receiving Social Security retirement benefits for years. Like many seniors, he plans his entire month around that deposit. The mortgage, groceries, medications, utilities, everything depends on that payment arriving on time. But one morning, he checked his account and the money was not there. The date was right. Social Security had already issued the payment according to the schedule, but his account balance had not changed. You can imagine how that felt for someone living on a fixed income. Even a short delay can feel like the ground shifting beneath your feet. My dad started wondering if something was wrong with his benefit, if there was a mistake somewhere, or if his payment had somehow been stopped entirely. It turned out that the Social Security Administration had actually sent the money exactly on time. The delay was happening inside the bank's processing system. This is where many people get confused, so let me explain why this matters and how the system actually works. When Social Security issues a payment, the funds do not go directly from the Social Security Administration to your personal bank account. The process goes through several steps behind the scenes that most people never think about. First, the payment is authorized through the United States Treasury. Then it moves through the Federal Reserve's electronic payment network. After that, it is routed to your bank using the routing number tied to your account. Only after your bank receives that electronic deposit does the bank place the money into your account balance. And that final step is where recent banking policy adjustments can sometimes affect timing. Over the past few years, banks across the country have strengthened their fraud detection systems. Identity theft and financial scams targeting seniors have increased dramatically, and financial institutions have responded by tightening verification checks on certain deposits. These systems are designed to protect customers, but occasionally they can slow down deposits while a transaction is being verified. For example, if an account recently changed information, maybe a new phone number, a new mailing address, or a new login device, some banks automatically flag large incoming deposits for review. Federal benefit deposits, including Social Security payments, can sometimes trigger those automated checks. Another situation involves new bank accounts. Many retirees switch banks to get better customer service or lower fees. But when a Social Security deposit is sent to a newly opened account, the bank's security system may briefly review the first few incoming deposits to make sure everything matches the account holder's identity. Again, this does not mean the money is gone. It simply means the bank's internal system is confirming the deposit before releasing it to the account. That is exactly what happened in my dad's situation. His bank had recently updated its fraud monitoring system. The deposit came in overnight, but the system placed a temporary verification check on the transaction. By late afternoon, the funds appeared in his account exactly as expected, but those several hours of uncertainty felt much longer, and this situation highlights something very important that many seniors do not realize. A payment delay does not always mean Social Security did something wrong. Sometimes the payment is already in the banking system and just has not cleared the final processing step yet. Let me walk you through some of the most common situations that can trigger these banking reviews. One of the biggest triggers is changes to account information. If you recently updated your bank account with Social Security, changed your routing number, or switched financial institutions, the first few deposits may take slightly longer to appear while the bank verifies everything. Another trigger involves account closures. If an account was closed or restricted before the payment arrived, the deposit may be returned to the Treasury. When that happens, Social Security has to reissue the payment to the correct account, which can take additional processing time. Identity verification systems are another factor. Banks are under increasing pressure to detect suspicious activity, especially when federal payments are involved. Automated monitoring tools look for patterns that do not match normal account behavior. For instance, if someone rarely logs into their account and suddenly there are multiple login attempts or unusual activity, the system may temporarily review incoming deposits. Again, these systems are meant to protect you, but when they activate, they can create confusion if someone is expecting their Social Security payment that morning. Let me explain something important that can help reduce stress if this ever happens to you. When Social Security sends your payment, it is documented and tracked electronically through the Treasury payment system. That means the payment itself does not disappear. It moves through the financial network until it reaches the receiving bank. If the bank is reviewing the deposit, the funds are still within the banking system. They just have not been credited to the account balance yet. Most of these reviews resolve within a few hours or by the next business day. However, understanding this process can help prevent unnecessary panic if the payment does not appear immediately in the morning. Another reason payments may appear later in the day involves internal bank posting schedules. Some banks release federal deposits early in the morning. Others update accounts later in the afternoon after processing overnight transactions. That is why two people receiving Social Security on the same day can sometimes see their deposits at different times depending on the bank they use. Here is what this means for you. Your Social Security benefit itself is not being reduced by these bank policy adjustments. The amount of your monthly benefit remains exactly what the Social Security Administration calculates based on your work history and eligibility. But the timing of when that deposit becomes visible in your account can sometimes depend on how your bank processes incoming federal payments. And as banks continue updating their fraud prevention systems and electronic payment networks, awareness of this process becomes even more important. Because when seniors know how the system works, a small delay becomes far less frightening. Instead of worrying that a benefit has disappeared, you understand that the payment may simply be moving through the final verification stage inside the bank. That knowledge alone can save a lot of stress. Now let me explain the actual payment schedule, because understanding when your deposit should arrive makes it much easier to recognize the difference between a true delay and a simple posting difference between banks. Many retirees are surprised to learn that Social Security payments do not arrive on the same day for everyone. The payment date usually depends on your birthday and the type of benefit you receive. If you receive Supplemental Security Income, also known as SSI, your payment is typically sent on the first day of the month. However, if the first falls on a weekend or federal holiday, the payment is usually issued on the last business day before that. For example, if the first of the month lands on a Sunday, SSI recipients may see their deposit arrive on the Friday before. Retirement and SSDI benefits follow a different schedule based on your birth date. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of the month, your Social Security payment usually arrives on the second Wednesday of each month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, the payment typically arrives on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the end of the month, your payment normally arrives on the fourth Wednesday. Understanding this schedule helps retirees know exactly when to expect their deposit, which can make it easier to recognize when something unusual is actually happening versus when the bank is simply processing transactions on a different timeline. Each year, Social Security payments are adjusted through what is called the Cost of Living Adjustment, commonly known as COLA. This adjustment is designed to help benefits keep up with inflation. When prices for everyday goods like groceries, rent, and medical care rise, the COLA increase helps provide a boost to monthly benefits so seniors can maintain their purchasing power. Over the past few years, COLA increases have been especially important because inflation has affected nearly every household budget. However, many seniors still feel financial pressure because the cost of essentials like food, energy, and prescription medications has also increased significantly. In addition to federal benefits, some states offer programs that help supplement retirement income. Certain states provide property tax relief programs for seniors. Others offer energy assistance programs that help cover heating or electricity costs during extreme weather seasons. There are also prescription assistance programs and senior rebate programs available in some states that can help reduce monthly expenses. These programs can make a meaningful difference, especially for retirees trying to stretch their Social Security income across housing, health care, food, and transportation costs. Now, let me share the most important steps you can take to protect your Social Security payments and avoid unnecessary stress. The good news is that in most cases, your benefits are still arriving exactly as scheduled. The Social Security Administration continues sending payments every month under current law, and those benefits remain one of the most stable sources of retirement income in the United States. But there are a few simple steps that can help make sure everything continues running smoothly. First, it is always a good idea to double-check that Social Security has your correct bank account information. If you ever change banks or open a new account, update that information as soon as possible through your official Social Security account online or by contacting the SSA directly. Second, keep an eye on your account around your normal payment date. Some banks post deposits early in the morning while others update balances later in the day. If the payment does not appear immediately, sometimes it is simply a matter of the bank's posting schedule rather than an actual problem. Third, stay alert for scams. Unfortunately, whenever Social Security is mentioned in the news, scammers try to take advantage of confusion. The Social Security Administration will never call you asking for bank information, gift cards, or payment to release your benefits. If someone contacts you asking for those things, it is a scam. Here is the most important takeaway in simple terms. Your Social Security benefit itself has not been reduced by these banking policy changes. In some situations, the timing of when a deposit appears may be influenced by bank security checks or processing schedules, but the payment itself is still moving through the system exactly as intended. Understanding that difference can save a lot of worry and help you feel more confident about your retirement income. Stay informed, stay careful with your finances, and remember that knowledge is one of the strongest tools you have in retirement. If you found this information helpful, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you never miss important updates about your Social Security benefits. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video.